Welcome back, everybody, and sorry for this late video release. I normally try to release a video on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I'm working on a larger video about the character of Black Panther, and so I wanted to circle back and talk about this Marvel tweet from July 18th. And I know I'm late getting to it, but I think it's relevant because it was a tweet about the new leaders of the Avengers. And so as I circle back, and the reason I wanted to talk about this is not only because it's timely, but I saw some of the comments in the responses. And of course, this thing has gotten 31 million, almost 32 million views. I kind of agree with the sentiment. Nobody's really excited about what's upcoming because I don't think most people feel like they can fully trust the MCU and Marvel to do any of these properties justice. There was one tweet in particular that stated they didn't want to see it because these characters have bad character development. And I just wanted to say that and come and talk about it because I actually disagree with that. I agree with the sentiment that I'm not excited because I can't trust Marvel, but I don't agree with the sentiment that these characters all have bad character development. ShangChi was a good movie. I saw it twice in the theater, and every time I went to see it, the audience responded positively, particularly seeing that final act with the dragon and the, I think it was like a soul eater or whatever it was. Seeing that in the theater, seeing that in IMAX or even 4D was fantastic. In that movie, for the people who actually saw it, because there were a lot of people that just bypassed this movie because they were saying nobody asked for it. So they didn't even go and see it, yet there were a lot of people who were doing negative commentary about it while acknowledging they never went and saw the movie. I don't get that. At the time when it was done, they actually did a demographic breakdown. And of course, we know that the target audience they were going for, but when they looked at the audience, yes, the majority of the audience of people who actually bothered to go see it were people of color, but it wasn't the largest group of the people of color was actually Hispanic. Just on a side issue, I wonder if they're going to turn out for the Blue Beetle the same way that African Americans turned out to really push the first Black Panther over the top, and to a certain degree to bring in that huge box office for Wakanda Forever. That's going to remain to be seen because it definitely didn't happen with the Asian community because of all the different politics with the different actors and where they were from and things like that. They didn't really turn out to put this over the top. And a large part of the MCU fan base were going around saying nobody asked for this, so they just sat at home. But anyway, get back to the point. I digress. In that movie, ShangChi gets good character development. We see him as a kid. We see his rationale. We see the interaction with his parents, his mom, his dad, his sister. We see all of that. And by the way, ShangChi answers his sister on why he did not come back, why he ran away. Yet in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Falcon never answers that question. As far as I remember, he never answers the question for his sister and why he went away. Interesting. But I digress again. If they had one complaint, one of their complaints was maybe they dived too much into the background because they went heavy into the father's background and story in the 10 Rings and where it came from. But they also went into his background as well as his mother's culture. And it was one of the few MCU movies that actually fit the mold of the old ones because at the end you get a post-credit scene where they officially welcome him into the Avengers. So no, ShangChi had strong character development. So I would not agree with people who said that no, it wasn't bad. You just didn't see the movie. I'm sorry. If you saw the movie, you know he had character development. And whether you liked it or not, that was another thing. But they at least paid attention to who his character was, where he was coming from, his mode of thinking, what he wanted, what he expected. Shuri, if there's anyone on this roster that I would say has bad character development, it's her. Because so much of her character development was a response and grief over the death of her family, particularly in Wakanda Forever. She's grieving over her brother. Then she has to grieve over the Queen Mother. The father's already gone. And so we get very little about who she is and where she's coming from. I mean, look at Echo. As short as her introduction was in Hawkeye, you at least saw her as a young girl. You saw that she was deaf. You saw that she was missing part of her leg, and so she had to adjust with a prosthetic. You saw her fighting, learning to be tough, standing up for herself. You saw her interaction with her father. All of that before she actually loses her father. In that case, you had character development before the loss of a loved one. With Shuri, all of her character development is coming through her grief at losing people. So if there's anybody of these three that I would say had bad character development, it would be her. And then we get the Falcon. Falcon.
Ladies and gentlemen, your new Captain America.
I've already done 2 videos. My last video went into more depth into his lack of character. This man has no characterization at all. None. And I don't understand why Marvel is doing this to themselves. You picked him to be the next Captain America, but yet you did not give him any kind of character development. So when it comes to him, I would put a fat 0 over his head because he has no character development, none at all. So of these 3, no, ShangChi has the best character development, is solid. One movie, he gets his character development, but you give a whole series to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we get no character development for him. ShangChi has it. Shuri has bad character development. She's not fully developed. We need to see who she is outside of just her grief for her lost family members. And then poor Falcon, or I'm sorry, he's Captain America now. Even though this came out July 18th, I think it's timely because we're going forward into Avengers Kang Dynasty, and these are the leaders that Marvel has announced to the world. And there's been numerous YouTubers have already done their reviews on it, but it's almost like a pretty good consensus that, yeah, nobody's excited for this. And one of the reasons that they aren't excited about it is because we haven't gotten any character development. None from Falcon, minimal from Shuri. We got good from Shang-Chi, but half of the audience or whatever, a lot of people just didn't even bother to see it. It's funny. I will look at first-time watcher channels, and the ones that have gone back and watched Shang-Chi, it's almost a universal question from all of them. And they ask themselves, why didn't I see this when it came out? Well, you didn't see it when it came out because you had so many trolls and everybody saying nobody asked for this and it was a waste of time and Marvel had tripped and fallen. And it's like, no, it was an entertaining movie. Anyway, those are my 2 cents on that. I like so many other people, even though I disagree with the assessment that none of these characters have any character development or are bad. Only 2 out of 3 have bad or none. Shang-Chi has good one, but even given that, I'm like everybody else. At this point, it's hard to trust Marvel to deliver on anything. So we'll see how this happens. And so that's just my 2 cents on the matter. See you in the next video.